Hey guys, what is going on? Vitaly Dubin is here, founder of Bitcoin's Walls Club, and this is very exciting week that we've been witnessing in the crypto space, where Bitcoin pumped by about 9%, but the whole altcoin markets absolutely has been exploding in the last few days. And I want to discuss that. I want to discuss today what we are seeing, the charts for Bitcoin, some Bitcoin technical analysis. We have a critical point in time where we are breaking through an indicator that will show you that over the last 9 months we're actually breaking through this trajectory, which is really cool, and getting ready for the bull run. And I want to discuss as well a $1.1 billion transaction that we are seeing happening recently in the space, which is very exciting. Nothing like that can happen in any other ways or means other than Bitcoin. I want to share with you some developments in Bitcoin Lightning Network and how it's going to be the future of money, and some developments on that. I want to discuss with you today as well the BSV, the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, which is a fork of Bitcoin Cash, which Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin, and why it can potentially be the biggest pump and dump that we've been seeing in the history of crypto, and the whole story about Craig Wright, the alleged Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, which you know, there was a lot of doubt about that, and his actual delivery of the private key of holding 1.1 million Bitcoin. So we have a lot to discuss today, guys. How are you doing? Let's get it started right now. So first of all, you know, I want to take a look at the overall market. We are right now at $241 billion for the entire crypto market cap, which is absolutely amazing, guys. We've seen tremendous growth. 1 second, you're not able to see. Right now you can see. Okay, cool. $241 billion in market cap, which is amazing growth. Right? If you take a look at the last 7 days in the total cryptocurrency market, we are seeing this amazing move. It was just on January 14th. Yesterday, we had $217 billion total market cap. Today, we have $240 billion. So we're over $23 billion in the overall cryptocurrency market cap
Lightning Network
right now, which is pumping. Not just Bitcoin, but the whole altcoin market is pumping. Okay, we were just about $200 billion 7 days ago. You know, so we come a long way. And this is the altcoin market that you're seeing right now, excluding Bitcoin, which is absolutely on the rise. So all the altcoins are pumping. We're essentially seeing a big pump in Bitcoin SV, which in a short period of time moved to number 4 position at some point. Now it's moved back a little bit to number 5 position, but it's been absolutely pumping. You can see this right here for Bitcoin SV. All of a sudden, in the last 4 days, it has pumped tremendously by 176%. And this is what is possible in the crypto space, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But more importantly is to understand what is behind those moves, and are we really seeing a trajectory of Bitcoin SV up, led by the N-chain and Craig Wright, or it is it's going to be ugly and end up really not well. Okay, so we're going to discuss that, but look at the overall changes in the cryptocurrency market. Ethereum is up 18% in the last 7 days. Ripple up 12.5%. Bitcoin Cash 40%. Litecoin 27%. EOS 35%. Dash 133%. Absolutely pumping. You can see other coin. Ethereum Classic 52%. Neo is up 20%. So pretty sizable gains that we are seeing. And looking at the Bitcoin itself, we are seeing this on a weekly time frame, that looking at this indicator of 21 weeks moving averages, looking at the whole history of Bitcoin, we can see that anytime that we were trading above this 21 weeks moving averages, we were in a bull market, and every time that we were below that, we kind of have slid down, and Bitcoin was in a downtrend. And this is quite consistent, as you can see through the history. This is all dating back to 2012, okay? And we were, of course, in 2015, 16, 17 in the bull market. And then it all changed right here, somewhere in January after this big dump, okay? And we're trading below this line, and all the way to January 2019, February 2019. Right here in March, we broke out of this trajectory above this line, and we had a tremendous few months, right, from March to June. And now then we broke again down this in September, and now for the first time in a long time we are breaking above this long-term long-term indicator. So that's a good reason to be bullish on that. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. Also, you can notice right here, this is changing right here, where the blue line is crossing the orange line, as you can see right here. This on a weekly, so this is a bigger time frame. Is definitely a sign for the bull market is coming to full speed, and the forces are changing from bear to bull. So that's good to see. On a daily, we can see that this trend line over here, we are broken that. So this was from June to this point. It's like yeah, it's for many months we've been on this downward sloping trajectory and channel, and we broke through that right now. So we're looking at this territory. I anticipate some resistance, as in technical analysis, all old support becomes a new resistance. So we had resistance somewhere in this area, from 9,000 to about 10,000, somewhere like that. So this area right here, we can have some resistance on. We'll see if we can break this area up. That'll be really awesome and confirm our downtrend. But right now, we are on the overbought territory on the RSI. And this is another indicator that you should really pay attention to and notice. And you can see the swings from down and to upwards and then down every time that we are in the overbought territory, where then came back and sliding downwards, and then up again and downwards. And it was like this consistent throughout time. So right now we are approaching again the upper limit here for the RSI. So we might see after some point, maybe not right now, but when we reach a little bit maybe higher, a drop down. Okay, so it's normal. If you are looking at this and you have this FOMO comes in, and the fear of missing out on this pump, like Bitcoin is pumping, and you want to come in right now and buy Bitcoin right now, maybe right now is not the best time to buy Bitcoin. Okay, maybe you should wait until we drop again, and then you buy, and you do what it's called DCA, dollar cost averaging. So you're buying a little bit at the bottoms, okay, when it's going down, and then you buy some more, and you don't put a lot, like you don't put all of your fiat money, all of your money, all of your cash on Bitcoin at this point right now, just because it is pumping. Okay, this is not the right thing to do. So just bear that in mind. Okay, moving on, guys. Have a lot of cool things to discuss. By the way, the CNBC Fast Money channel is talking about Bitcoin to the moon. Cryptocurrency is taking off again, and we're all over this year, all over the news again. Okay, they are excited, and then we have Twitter CEO actually may add Bitcoin tip-in service. So imagine all the users of Twitter are actually going to be able to receive micro payments, maybe $50 or $1, something like that, maybe a little bit more, so the supporters of channels that they like in Twitter, and influencers can actually over Twitter can pay with Bitcoin. And that's not surprising me, as Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, is actually a big proponent of Bitcoin, a big supporter of Bitcoin and digital payments. And his second company, Square, is a big player in the Bitcoin field of accepting payments of Bitcoin. So he might use this company Square to facilitate the payments, and that's another bullish news on Bitcoin, as Twitter has a lot of users, and I think it's only a matter of time when Twitter and then Facebook and Instagram and all of these platforms, Telegram will start using cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency on these platforms, and then Amazon will follow suit. So that's really good for us. Now we have seen a transaction happening not so like yesterday at the evening on $1.1 billion that were moved from this wallet to this wallet. So this is a huge amount of Bitcoin that has been moved, which is about 125,946 Bitcoin, almost 126,000 Bitcoin that were moved, and the fee that was paid was just about $85. So it can show you, first of all, the power of blockchain, that you're able to move such large amounts of monetary value from one party to another party. Maybe it was transfer between the person's wallets. Maybe it's some huge exchanges or a big mega billionaire that is involved. We don't know about that. We see the transparency of the transaction. Maybe it is for a big dump that can happen, or maybe it's just a regular transfer. We don't know about that. But what's remarkable is that you cannot do stuff like that with banks. It's impossible to move $1.1 billion just like that and pay $85 in fee. It's impossible. No other way that you're able to do that. But with Bitcoin, you can, and that's one of the reasons why we love it so much. So that is pretty cool. Then we are seeing Craig Wright. So Craig Wright appearing in front of the cameras and saying, "Hey, yeah, I have the private keys delivered to me to prove my Bitcoin holdings." So if you don't know, Craig Wright is a very, very controversial figure in the crypto space. He has been claiming in the past that he is the real Satoshi Nakamoto, that he invented Bitcoin, and he together with Dave Clayman, actually mined in the early days about 1.1 million Bitcoin. And there was a big lawsuits that followed from the Clayman estate on a half of this, about $10 billion right now in value, on 500,000 Bitcoin that Craig Wright should pay. And it's a big, controversial and complicated court that is going on. And they said, "Hey, you need to send us this private key that you should receive in January," as he claimed. And he said, "Hey, I got those private keys. They were provided to me that prove that I have this Bitcoin holdings." Okay, and he was in compliance of what the court asked him to deliver, and he delivered that. But here's the thing. Okay, he actually said that I gave Clayman lawyers nothing. So what actually happened is he delivered about 16,000 Bitcoin addresses that hold this 1.1 million Bitcoin, but it's not the actual private key. So he said they still have nothing. So he complied with the court order, but he said that the lawyers of the Clayman estate will find nothing. So he said there is a thing called legal privilege, where something comes from a law firm, it's privileged. The other side have everything they ask for, and that is the problem. They still have nothing because there is nothing. The document produced by Craig is simply a list of 16,404 addresses. Craig, however, didn't provide any information on the bounded courier, the company he worked for, when he came, etc., etc. Okay, so if those addresses that believed to be contain about $10 billion, to be exact, about 8.9 billion dollars in value right now for Bitcoin, okay, then he's supposed to pay 500,000 Bitcoin on that, to the climate estate, and prove that he has a private key. The problem is, they don't believe him. The crypto community, they don't really believe him. But there are some people who follow him, and on that premise that he said, hey, I have the private keys, Bitcoin SV surged by up to 286%, right? You look at this. At the peak, it was $456. Now it's $330. But it was only $84. So look at this huge surge. Maybe he's manipulating the prices, because Bitcoin SV is not it's not traded on any major exchange like Coinbase or Bitstamp or Binance, okay, or Kraken. But the liquidity is not that big in terms of how many people are actually buying and selling BSV, and not everybody claim their coins of BSV who hold the Bitcoin. But if he is not right, and he doesn't actually have the private key, and he is like fooling everybody around, and as he is saying, the Aussie Batman, he calls him an Aussie bad man. He's coming after you. So, maybe he's putting all this drama, but he's using that to raise the price of BSV and then dump the coins, and or do some kind of another hard fork on BSV and sell a lot of his coins and then dump the coin again. So it can be a big pump and then dump for this coin. And there is not really a lot of opportunities to short BSV. So just pretty interesting to follow how the story is going to end. Will he actually pay the 500,000 Bitcoin? As he actually holds that amount of Bitcoin and in full possession, or not? Okay, that is something that we're going to see. But as it was compiled a list of fake things that Craig Wright did, that actually kind of proves that he is not really the real Satoshi Nakamoto. All of that there is a lot of evidence against his being a Satoshi Nakamoto, and his statements that are not really true, that he was saying. Okay, so people not really believe in what he's saying to the fullest, but time will tell. It's still not clear. It's a it's a $9 billion lawsuit, 9 or 10 billion, depending on when you look at it. But it's a huge lawsuit that is happening. It's a very important that you understand about this and follow this, because we're in this crypto space, and if he does have this access, think about the power. If he has access to 1.1 million Bitcoin, that's a lot, and it can crash the market if he's going to put it on the exchange. Okay, so just wanted to notice that. Now, Tom Lee is actually calling for 100% Bitcoin returns or more, because of the election for the U.S., because of the tension between U.S. and Iran, and because of the Bitcoin halving. And actually, the Winklevoss brothers are also very bullish on Bitcoin, and they're saying that they hold a lot of Bitcoin. Obviously, the founders of Gemini Exchange, and they're saying that Bitcoin halving is going to play a major role in Bitcoin. Is going to be huge for Bitcoin this year. Okay, so we are really close to that. In May 2020, which is like 4 months from now, we're going to see the Bitcoin halving, which again means that the supply of Bitcoin is going to be less, twice as less. If today we produce 1,800 Bitcoins every day, we'll see 900 Bitcoin produced every day in May 2020. And this will be a huge effect on the Bitcoin prices. And I think the prices will always reflect that. And before that, we're going to see exactly this scenario happen, that Bitcoin will soar and reach higher levels, maybe higher than the $20,000 that we've seen in 2017. Okay, Bitcoin is a great asset, a long-term asset, so never forget that. And that's why a dollar cost averaging is such a great idea, that you start accumulating Bitcoin. We are seeing another great news for the crypto markets. A Swedish crypto exchange, BTCX, prepares for an IPO, which legitimizes even more the industry. The initial public offering, getting the stock market of the Swedish crypto exchange. That's a bullish news for Bitcoin. And as LinkedIn actually listing blockchain as the #1 skill in 2020. If you look at the top hard skills that you can acquire to work for a company, the #1 is blockchain. The #1 hard skill is blockchain, which means a whole new generation of engineers in the blockchain space are groomed to join all these new startups and companies, and this #1 desired skill today. Okay, so that should tell you a lot about where we are going with Bitcoin and with crypto, as this is very big. And lastly, I want to talk about China a little bit. China is a big player in crypto. This is not so good news, as the director of Beijing Bureau of Finance said China will not issue cryptocurrency exchange license in the future, and it will only be zero tolerance of ICOs in China, and only the People's Bank of China can issue legal cryptocurrencies. So they want to kind of take control of that market, and overall that it's not a bullish news for crypto, but it's not reacting to that anymore. You know, we've seen China, and China's not being tolerant for crypto for a long time, and you know, it's not really that big of a deal in terms of the huge crypto space, and it's not really affecting the prices used before. You know, 2 years ago on this type of news, we would see a big crash, but not today. And finally, I wanted to talk about the Lightning Network, which is the next generation for Bitcoin. And as you can see, what's in store for 2020, the next generation scaling, the Lightning private channels can take 25.2 million transactions per second, which is way more than what is happening on the Visa network, which is 65,000 transactions per second. Alipay is 50,000 transactions per second. Bitcoin is only 10 transactions per second. So you can see the importance of this next generation Lightning Network, which is being developed in the last few years and gaining momentum. And I see that soon this technology is going to be absolutely used everywhere, and we're going and start using the Lightning Network. And this is the way that Bitcoin can actually transpass by far Visa and all of those credit card companies in their ability to be global. And the day will come that we'll have the ability to process so many transactions. You know, it's a lot. 25 million transactions every second. It's a lot. It's more than enough to make Bitcoin a global currency. for everybody to use. So that is very, very exciting. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you today, guys. I hope that you feel the excitement that is in the air for Bitcoin. It is time to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible this year in 2020 and prepare for an absolutely amazing year, an amazing decade that we have in front of us in the Bitcoin space. We're going to continue to follow along the major happenings in the crypto space and do analysis on Bitcoin and the market and what is going on. And I'll see you in the next one.